Alrighty, we are live. Good evening, everybody. And to the ladies at the back, good evening. Welcome to DuePoint. Welcome to everyone around the country who's tuned into our live stream this evening. I'm surprised so many people made it out. Tomorrow is a public holiday. So normally people are at the pub already on Tuesday evening. You can see we've got a pub across the road here. Not across the road, next door. The building next door. You see all the people arriving? They're going to go pooza upstairs on the third floor. But we're going to speak about business this evening. So welcome again. My name's Rob van der Bijl. I'm one of the executives here at DuPoint. I'm going to be spending the next 50 to 60 minutes going through what DuPoint's all about. And I'm going to propose a business opportunity to our guests this evening. So you're welcome to come speak to me after the presentation, ask me any questions. But let's begin. So you're at our head office here at DuPoint. We're actually a division of another company called Constantia Insurance Company Limited. That's Constantia's logo. That's their building in the background. They're based down the road in Randburg. They are a registered insurance company in South Africa. So there's only a handful of those. Constantia is one of them. They were founded in 1952, so we've been around for a very long time, way longer than I've been alive for. Constantia is nearly 7 decades old. A very reputable firm. They played a fundamental role in developing the insurance industry over the last almost 70 years. The FSP number that we operate under is that one that you see over there. You'll notice in the foyer above the water cooler. Did you see all the certificates up on the wall? Take a look at those. Those are FSB licenses. We've got an FSP license. We've got a long and short-term insurance license. We've got an investment license. We've got our accreditation with the direct marketing and the direct selling associations, because we take credibility very seriously at DuPoint. And I suspect that most of our audience, our guests, want to trust the business that we're going to be speaking about today, right? You probably haven't heard of DuPoint up until today. So you're welcome to go do a background check on us, on Constantia. We're actually part of a group called Conduit Capital, which is listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange. And obviously, being an insurance company, we are regulated by the FSB, very onerous regulation, which should also be a check in terms of credibility for you. Okay, so this is the executive and the management team here at DuPoint. The 3 individuals on the far left are all registered chartered accountants, starting with Brendan. He's the senior executive. He's got a lot of experience in financial services, particularly in insurance. He's been working, I guess, in financial services probably for almost 3 decades now. His father's actually a professor of insurance who taught at Wits. His father founded Clientele Life amongst a host of other businesses. Brendan and his brother Stuart founded Prime Meridian Direct, which is a very successful short-term insurer just down the road from us here, and we know PMD because they do so much advertising on various platforms all the time. So they've had a lot of success in financial services. Tim Reynolds comes from a corporate banking background. He was with the First Rand Group before he joined DuPoint. Had a fairly senior position there, reported directly to the CEO of the First Rand Group, and that's a massive corporate banking organization. They own FNB, I think they own Discovery, they own FNB, RMB, so a very large banking organization. Tim heads up all the regulatory and the auditing aspects here in our business. Stacey supports him in that role. She's got a lot of experience in auditing. She's been working with Deloitte all her working career. She worked in South Africa as well as overseas in Europe for a while before she came back to South Africa and joined the team here. And then the 2 non-accountants. Jane's fortunately on holiday at the moment. She's back in her homeland in the UK. She stems from the United Kingdom. She's been in South Africa for about 10 years, but the experience that she brings to the team is one of direct selling or direct marketing. She's got a lot of that international experience that she brings to our business, which is important because even though we're an insurance business, our growth is dependent on our success in network or referral marketing. And then myself, I've been working in marketing and advertising most of my career. I started my own digital agency in the late 90s. I ran that for about 20 years, almost 20 years, before I exited that business and then joined the team here at DuPoint. And that business was kind of successful. When I say successful, it paid the bills. I never had to retrench anyone in the business, so we can say, yes, it was a successful business. But I'll touch on why I left that business, and I'm hoping the reason why I left that business is the reason you're going to be very attracted to the business opportunity that we're going to be speaking about this evening. Okay, so this is the team. Again, I want you to start developing some rapport with the team, some trust in the people that head up this business, because again, it's so important to create any partnership that you know that you're going to be, that you at least trust and are able to work with the people in this business, in this partnership, and know that we're definitely going to be collaborating with you. If you speak to any of the wealth engineers here, they will tell you that we don't hide in our offices. We are not inaccessible. We are very much an accessible team. We like to get involved with the people that join our business. Our success as a business is very much dependent on how effective you are in this business. And so we're going to collaborate towards the same thing. And our mandate as staff here is to actually support the people that come into this business to see them successful, right? So that's in our mandate. That's something that we focus on all the time. Everything that we do in this business is how can we support the people in this business more? How can they grow faster, more effectively? That is something we focus on all the time. And again, this speaks to creating this partnership where you know you're collaborating with your partners in the business. Okay. So that's a bit of background on us. Now back to you. How many guests do we have in the audience? I haven't asked that in a while. How many guests? Just show of hands. The only question I'm going to ask you. Don't be nervous. Yes? Okay. Welcome, guests. Welcome to DuePoint. We kind of discuss a couple of negative aspects at this stage of the presentation, unfortunately. And this is only to highlight the environment that we all faced with in South Africa. And it's not unique to South Africa, but we'll speak about South Africa predominantly. One is the economy. The economy's been in a recession for the last 6 months, which is terrible because we were really hoping that after last year, the economy would bolster itself a little bit and start creating jobs, and it hasn't. We've actually gone backwards since last year. So if we thought it couldn't get worse than last year, it has gotten worse, unfortunately. The economy is something we can't control, right? So it's out of our hands. We are just victim to whatever the economy is doing. And South Africa's economy is often at the tail end of what's happening globally. So there's really nothing we can do about it. And that's so frustrating because you so desperately want to change your circumstances, but who's going to change the economy, right? You and I, we're not going to change the economy. And so this is quite a frustrating aspect. And it plays into our lives very personally because we see it in the form of unemployment. So, some of us might be unemployed. You'll certainly know people that are unemployed. You'll know people that have gone through retrenchment. You will realize the cost of food going up. Every single month almost, the cost of food is going up. The cost of traveling, petrol, fuel. We see it in rising, the inflation rate's kind of set at about 7%, just under 7% for a while now, but that's very high. Interest rates have come down by 0.25%, like that's going to save anyone's life. But interest rates are also sitting fairly high. So this plays directly into our lives. We feel it, right? Because in an economy where not only us, but companies are struggling, we don't get that raise to keep in line with inflation every year, right? So if inflation's sitting at just under 7%, you need your salary to go up by 7% every year. If it's not doing that, your salary is devaluing every year, right? And how can you afford for your salary to devalue when food is doubling in price every 8 years? We can't afford it. And so we try to bridge this gap with that 4-letter word that you see on the screen there. You see the 4-letter word? It's batting its eyelids at you like this because you have a love affair with each other, right? That 4-letter word is called debt. And South Africans engage in a lot of debt, too much. But this is our solution to bridging the gap between what we paid and what the cost of living is, right? So we're almost forced into this position. But like I said, no one forces it upon us. We take debt at our own free will, take it upon ourselves. And we're afforded debt pretty much the moment you start earning a salary, and South Africans will engage in a whole bunch of different types of debt. We've got home loans, car loans, personal loans, educational loans. You can buy things on hire purchase. You can buy food on hire purchase, right, with your Woolworths account card. You can buy clothes on hire purchase, right? Even they say it's interest-free. Right? They say to you, oh, it's interest-free. Get a card, right? Doesn't mean anything. It means you're still buying stuff that you can't afford. And so we'll engage in all these different debt instruments, right? On the other side of debt instruments are these things called investments, which we don't seem to engage in. Savings and investments. That's because we don't have any money at the end of the month, right? And then things like credit cards. And credit cards are terrible because there's revolving credit on a credit card. At least when you buy a car, you know when you're going to finish paying it off. With a credit card, it can go on into perpetuity that you owe money on the credit card. I don't think I've ever paid a credit card off in my life before. Right? I'm on the 5th one. I'm going to try with the 5th one. Try to pay the credit off on the 5th credit card. Hopefully I'll do better this time. And so South Africans will only really start looking at savings and investment products at the age of 50. Too late, right? Because 10 years from 50 is this very special day that we all have to face sooner or later, called retrenchment. Oh no, sorry, it's called retirement. It's called retirement. You know it's the same thing, right? You don't get a salary at the end of either one. It doesn't matter if they call it retrenchment or retirement. There's no salary at the end of it. Okay? So this was an article that was very interesting that Tim actually sent me late last year, and I thought, this is great. Let me put it in the presentation because it kind of shows people, it gives people a snapshot of what responsible retirement planning should kind of look like for people. Okay? So the article was published on the Fin24 website in September last year, and if you go read the article, it's actually about the rising mortality rate. So it's saying that people are living longer all the time, right, because of medical services, increasing, getting better, health services, all that type of thing, and people are living longer. And if people are living longer, it means that you need to save more for your retirement, because you're not going to die at 74 like people today. You're probably going to die at 90, and so you better have saved enough money in retirement due to that fact, right? So retirement planning has to keep up with the mortality rate. So that was what the article is about. But they quoted all these numbers. So they said, well, if you're in the position where you've saved R1 million, the R1 million will pay you out 5,000 Rand for 30 years. So if you retire at 60, you get 5,000 Rand a month from your R1 million investment all the way up to the age of 90. Okay? And that 5,000 Rand actually eats into the capital amount. So the R1 million gets smaller, and you have to die at 90. You have to die at 90. So you're actually hoping you die of natural causes at 90, because it's better to die of natural causes than starvation at 91. Okay? This is what retirement planning looks like. But this is certainly not a dignified income. Who can live on 5,000 Rand a month? Right? I saw people talking about nutrition in South Africa. We've got a huge problem around nutrition in this country. Families aren't feeding themselves well enough, right? Again, it talks to the economy that we don't have enough money, and now we've got to live on food that's not nutritious. We're not giving our kids enough food so that their brains can develop properly. And they say that the average family of 4 has to spend at least 7,000 Rand a month on groceries alone, right? That's what they reckon. If you want to feed a family of 4 a nutritious meal every day, and they're not going crazy, this is the minimum. This is the entry level, 7,000 Rand a month. How are you going to live on 5,000 Rand a month? Unless you off your spouse. Get rid of the spouse. Maybe then you can afford 5,000 Rand a month to live on. So no one wants to be in this position, right? You don't. Okay, now my next question. Who is actively saving now, today, towards R1 million? Nobody? There's usually 2%. 2% of the population will engage in, and I don't think it's responsible retirement planning. I think you'll find that 2% have good assets already and whatever, and they'll be in a position where they're not in trouble at retirement. But for the rest of us, for 98% of us, we're going to be in a position where we haven't saved this money. There's going to be that day when our employer says to us, look, you're turning 60 next year, it's time for you to retire. That should be a happy day, right? You've been working for 45 years, but you know it's not going to be a happy day, because you are now going to be stressing about how you're going to have enough income coming in just to survive. And this is unfortunately the case for 98% of South Africans. So if you're under the age of 25, right, you've got time on your side, you can enter into responsible retirement planning because you have time. So if you look at the bottom figure at the bottom, it tells you how much money you need to save for 40 years to be in this position. So if you're 25 and you save until you're 65, you only need to save 800 Rand a month. Okay? But then you'll be in this position where you don't have enough money anyway for retirement. So we go to the next example. 5 million Rand will pay you out 26,000 Rand a month. You need to save 4,000 Rand a month for the next 40 years. You can't afford to get retrenched in that time. This contribution has to increase in line with inflation. So it has to increase by 7%. You have to increase your contribution every year. Can you see why South Africans don't engage in this? It's not really realistic, right? Especially in our economy. We don't even know how this can be possible. How can this be possible if I'm worrying about how just to pay the bills month to month? Now you're telling me I need to be putting away nearly 1,000 rand a month just to be in a position where I can earn 5,000 rand income once I'm retired. 98% of the population will now become a burden to their families, to their children, will become dependent on other people. We will be fighting the other 9 million people for a job once we're retired. So this is all the negativity. That's a lot to take on, right? Some of us might have realized this already. Some of us might be under the illusion that because we're just getting by every month, we're going to be okay. But that's not the case. Because sooner or later, you'll get retrenched. Sooner or later, you'll face retirement. And my hope is that you'll be in the position where you've created an asset where you don't have to worry about employment. Employment isn't the answer to our issues, because we're all employed, but we're here on a Tuesday night before a public holiday looking for something extra, because we need it. Not because we want it, we need it, right? So out of all of this negativity, as a business, we saw an opportunity to create a platform for the average South African to engage in. We call it the DuePoint system. It allows people to freely engage with us, to join this business, and really try break out of this debt cycle that we find ourselves in. Debt is actually the crippling part of all of this. If you can solve your debt issues, you'll be in a way better position to now start investing in assets and change your situation going forward. So that's our first goal in this business. We'll always talk about becoming debt-free as quickly as possible at DuePoint. Right? You're free to spend your money any way you want to. You can start living more lavishly or whatever you want to do. But really, what you need to start thinking differently about is debt. And you want to pay your debt off as quickly as possible. And I'll illustrate that a little later. The second aspiration we have is that once you become debt-free, you're now in a position to really start investing in assets, right? In investments or savings products. So that you can, in the long term, look forward to a retirement. Because you'll know that you haven't saved R1 million, you've saved 5 million rand, right? You've got a 5 million rand or a 10 million rand asset 10, 20, 30 years down the line. I was speaking to some people earlier this evening, and honestly, this morning driving to work, I thought to myself, I'm 40 at the moment. I turned 40 in November last year. I thought, if only I had invested more money into a better asset when I was younger. I waited too long. I only really started investing in my late 20s, where I had the freedom to invest sooner. Right? But as a young person, I don't know, maybe you got short-term expectations. If you asked me when I was in high school what I wanted to be, I knew I was going to be driving Porsches and Ferraris by 25. I knew it, right? I had all that confidence and bravado in me. And I didn't do anything safe, anything long-term in the background, just in case. My plans didn't work out. And unfortunately for most of us, our aspirations from teenage years doesn't really work out, does it? You ask any teenager what they want to be. President, astronaut, stockbroker, right? All these wonderful things. Okay, so the system really presents you the opportunity of 1, breaking out of the debt cycle, 2, start investing in proper assets, and then 3, ultimately just to be happier. Just to be happier. That's really why you're here this evening. Right? Someone told you something about, oh, there's a financial opportunity, or do you want to get into a business that creates recurring income, whatever they said to you. But what happened for you was there was maybe a little bit of hope. Just a little bit of hope. Let me go see what this is all about, because I'm desperate to change my circumstance. I don't want to wait another year hoping that suddenly the economy changes, or suddenly I get a promotion and they double my salary, or I get a huge increase. I can't wait anymore. I can't. I have to start doing something now. And that's why we're here. And ultimately, we want to see you happier. Because I promise you, if you're debt-free and you're only putting all that extra money that you have into investments, you're going to be a happier person. Because you're out of this debt cycle. You're not worrying about the end of the month. You're not stressing in December and January like the rest of the South Africans. You're not worrying about your retirement. You don't care what happens at work because you've got recurring income coming in from your flexi-time job, as it were, right? So how does this work? Our guests have the opportunity this evening to join DuePoint, what happens is you actually contract with us. We call you wealth engineers. And as wealth engineers, you only have one task, and that is to go out and build what we call channels of distribution, right? Which is really you introducing people to DuePoint, as simply as that. And through our online platform, we will expose them to our products and hopefully make a transaction, right? And that's how the business basically works. It's as simple as that. The benefit for the wealth engineer is that they get to create an additional income stream for themselves, extra income. This is the only way to break out of this debt cycle. This is the only way to set yourself free from the debt that you have in your life, is by creating additional income, okay? The nature of our income that we create here is one of recurring nature. This is something that insurance companies do, right? And it's something that my business that I ran for nearly 20 years could not do. We couldn't create recurring income. So insurance companies build a book or an asset, and this asset pays out all the time, right? Most of the time. But in my business, what we did was we sold hours. So like an electrician or a hairdresser or a lawyer, designers and programmers like myself, we sold time, right? And so we would go out and look for business every month. We would do the work. We would invoice the work, get the money in, and at the end of the month, we'd have to start at zero again and do it all over again, right? Like a hairdresser, like an electrician, like a lawyer. They didn't create any recurring income. And so I did this for 17 years. I realized probably at year 10 that this was a problem. And we tried to start adapting our business so that we could start getting recurring income in. But it didn't work. And I realized that I'd wasted 17 years of my life. And I regret it to this day. It hurts. It does hurt. Right? I was speaking to you earlier. 19 years old. I was like, you got 20 years on me. 20 years, you can figure this out. Don't take so long to figure it out. Right? So when I see young people come into this business, I get so excited because they've got time on their side. But unfortunately, they don't have the experience and the pain. They don't realize what's in store for them. Accountability, getting married, kids, financial burdens running around your house, price of schooling getting so expensive, groceries going up constantly. Don't have that accountability. But that's the perfect time to take advantage of it, right? Because you don't have the accountability. Don't waste the opportunity. But for us who are older, we still have time. You can change. Seriously, you can change your situation in a matter of months in this business, in a year. And if you start thinking long term, in 5 years, which is really not a long time, 5 years. If you can change your situation just a little bit, it makes a massive difference in the long term. So we create recurring income here. The power duplication, we harness the power duplication. The system is built that allows you to bring people in to help you in your business. So the people that you actually introduce to us will be placed into your channel. And when they're placed in your channel, what they're going to be doing is actually helping you build this asset. Right? So it's not purely based on your own efforts. So now you get to use everyone that you bring into this business to increase the value of your asset so that your recurring income goes up. This is great because we've got limited time, right? We don't want to be restricted by limited time. If I can bring in 100 people to help me, that's what you want to do. The business is flexi time. This is not a benefit. It's not a benefit, flexi time. What I meant to write here was sacrificial time. In brackets, time without your family. In the short term, at least. Because to be successful in this business, you have to sacrifice time to make this work. There's no other way around it. I don't know if you're disappointed by that fact. I'm hoping everyone arrived here realized if I want something extra, I'm going to have to do something extra. But you'll be surprised. I mean, a lot of people that they think that it just happens automatically. I don't know. By the end of this presentation, I'm going to ask you, there's a big slide that's going to come up. It's going to be orange. All the slides here are gray and blue. The orange one, when it comes up, it's going to say decision time at the top. The decision is, how does DuePoint fit in my life? Is it every Tuesday night that you spend on DuePoint, 2-3 hours? Is it weekends? You have to decide how it gets fitted into a schedule that's already doesn't have time. So now you have to sacrifice. Get rid of that PVR decoder. I didn't say that. I'm going to get sued by DSTV. Right? Expense of DSTV. I better keep quiet. Right? But you have to make that choice. It requires maturity to make that choice, to go, okay, I'm going to sacrifice time with my family, or I'm going to sacrifice this, or I'm going to sacrifice that to fit DuePoint into my life so that I can see whether I can make this successful or not. So it's certainly not flexi time. No startup capital. We make this business risk-free. Right? You don't have to buy boxes of product to get started in our business. We don't have registration fees or joining fees. We don't sign you into 12-month or 24-month contracts or anything like that. So we make it as accessible as possible. There's no qualifications or experience required because we work in financial services. Everyone has to be qualified in some way, but we actually contract you out of that obligation, so you don't have to worry about it. You get to build an asset. Now, this is the big, important benefit here at this business. This is what we don't do in employment. We don't build an asset. This is the thing you want to start working on the moment you leave high school. Actually, you can even start doing it while you're at high school, right? But in our business, you've got to be 18 to start. You want to build an asset that you own, that you have ownership over. This is why we're in trouble, because we've never built an asset before. We spend 40, 45 years working for someone else, building their asset, so that they can get paid the big salary and get the big bonus and get the dividend check and get profit share. This is the most important benefit on this page, on the slide, is that you get to build this asset that you own. You can sell it one day. We've already had people selling their channels in this business. You can give it to your kids when you get too old. When you get to 80 and you can't talk so well anymore, you can give it to your kids. If you die before then, you can cede it to them, right? There's this thing that has value that it gets given to them. Not just a funeral bill. Yes? So you have options around the time that you're investing because you're sacrificing time for this thing. So at least the time you sacrifice, know that it's going into an asset that you own. Completely different to employment. There's no selling involved. Now, this is a funny one because I know everyone who arrived here thought, what are we selling at this place? This opportunity, just tell me, this opportunity we're going to look at tonight, what are we selling? Milkshakes, vitamins, what's their product there? And you don't have to worry about that. Again, we actually contract you out of selling. Like I said, there's no boxes of products. It's obviously financial services. Our products aren't tangible, and that's great too because we don't have stock issues and distribution issues. Our stock doesn't expire. Brendan's dad used to joke. He said when he was an insurance salesman knocking door to door, he used to say to every person that he got to, because in the old days, they didn't have internet in those days when Dr. Benfield started. He would have his briefcase with him, and he would sit down at the meeting, and he would say to them, "You're very lucky. I've got my last policy in my briefcase today, just for you." Right? We don't run out of stock here. We've got systems that take care of all of this. You don't have to do a single thing. Right? It all gets taken care of for you. So we make the business as convenient as possible to get involved in. Right? But that's the only thing that's simple in this business, is getting involved in it. You have to be successful at it if you want to make money. And it's dependent on you being successful at building these channels of distribution. So they begin with you, obviously. All the accountability lies with you. You go out and you tell people about the business opportunity. You're not selling them. You're not talking about product. You're talking about income opportunity. This is what people want to hear about, by the way. People don't want to hear about product. But if you come to them and you say, I've got an income opportunity, that's what people are interested in, because we're all in the same boat. We're all in the same country, the same economy. We all have the same issues. So when you speak about income opportunity, that's what gets people interested. And when you do that and you're good at it and you're able to get a few people, some friends, acquaintances, colleagues, whoever, even strangers, to come to a presentation like this and they decide to join DuePoint and take out one of our products, that's the beginning of your channel of distribution. The leverage and the duplication comes in when they go out and do the same thing, right? They're now helping you build your asset. They're collaborating with you. And so you have this organic growth that takes place in your business. And with time, your channel will get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You're getting paid for every single dot that you see on the screen, not once-off, recurring income. This is an asset that has value, that you can sell, that grows with time, based on just the early efforts of you bringing in 5 effective people. Actually, 4 effective people. This one's very lazy, doesn't do anything. This is what it's all about, right? Network marketing, people refer to it as all kinds of things. This is not a new concept. This has been around for hundreds of years. Referral marketing. Facebook success is predicated on networks, right? Friendship networks. This is not dissimilar to that. So this is what your channel of distribution looks like. Now this is my disclaimer slide. Look at the pretty legs on the lady, on the ballerina. You see the legs on the ballerina? This is what we think business looks like. Pretty, clean, successful, easy. But this is really what it's all about. It hurts. There's blood, bruises. That's what it takes to be successful. 95% of new businesses fail in the first year. 95%. Who would want to start a business with odds like that? I wouldn't want to, right? I was saying earlier today, entrepreneurship has loads of downsides. Loads of downsides. But the upside is freaking awesome. It is awesome. And if you're willing to endure the downside of starting your own business to get that upside, it's obviously worth it. You speak to any successful entrepreneur, do they regret any aspect of business? They don't, right? But they go through all the trial and tribulation. In this business, it's not dissimilar. You'll be called to leadership, accountability, maturity. Because in this business and in any business to be successful, you have to have a long-term outlook. That long-term outlook at the end of it has that massive upside that you want to go for. What is that upside? You've got to decide that too in this presentation. Maybe you haven't thought about it. But what is the upside? What is the potential of this business for you? Can you picture yourself retiring with 15 million rand in assets? Can you picture yourself retiring early? Maybe at 50, maybe at 45. Maybe you don't have to work in 10 years' time in this business. What does it look like for you? You can let your imagination run wild. But it requires all the sacrifice, the downside of business. And you just have to be consistent and persistent. Don't make the mistake of having short-term expectations that are too large. You will disappoint yourself, and disappointment will lead to quitting. And we have many people that join this business. They get excited by the presentation, let their imaginations run wild, but they don't do anything. They're like, all these people said no to me. My dad told me it was a pyramid scheme, and I quit. That's the majority of the population, by the way, right? In business, it's reflected in business, in entrepreneurship. Some people aren't just cut out for it. They're not willing to put the work in. So this is my disclaimer slide. I want you to have long-term expectation with a big reason why you're doing it, and I want you to persist through all the pain at the beginning. You will find success. So let's talk about how we pay our wealth engineers. The money slide. So we pay our wealth engineers through our returns program. Our returns program is the money that you make at the end of every month, depending on how many products you have in your channel. Okay? So we pay a base return fee of 27.50 Rand for every product that you have in your channel. But that's dependent on where the product lies in relation to you. So there's the first 5 people you introduced into the business. They lie on your first point. They are 1 point away from you. And on your first point, we actually pay you double the 27.50 Rand. We pay you 55 Rand for every product every month. Every month. Remember, it's recurring income. It's not once off. You can put effort in August that will pay you for the next 10 years. That's the beauty of getting involved in insurance businesses, right? This recurring income that we get to generate. On point 2, these are people, these are your friends that have brought other people in. That's point 2. The product lies 2 points away from you, and again we pay you 55 Rand for every product. Point 3 is friends of friends of friends. Right? Point 3. The product lies 3 points away from you, and the multiplier starts to drop. See, it jumps back to 100%. Then from the 4th point, drops a little more, all the way down to the 8th point. At the 8th point, we're paying you 4% of the 27.50 Rand, but we don't limit you at point 8. From point 8 into infinity. You can be here for 10 years. Your channel might be 100 points wide. And we'll keep paying you 4% from the 8th point to the 100th point. We don't limit you on how big your channel can get. There's no limitation on how big your channel can get in this business. There's no limitation on how much money you can earn here. So we talk about long term. Do you quit after 3 months, or do you stick it out for 20 years? Where can you be in 20 years? Even if you're chipping away a little bit at this business. Use the time that you have. So this is the mechanics of our returns. This is how we calculate how we pay our returns. The next natural question we get is, well, how much money can you make in this business after a certain amount of time? So what we did was we created this projection. We call it the path to success. It kind of assumes that a new wealth engineer can add 3 people into their business in the first month. And then every month thereafter, you only bring in another 2. Right? We call it the 3 plus 2 growth formula. 3 in the first month, 2 in September, 2 in October, into perpetuity. If you can do that, you can expect to be earning about 2,500 rand after 6 months. Okay, so this is just an example. Is 2,500 rand good money? 6 months worth of work? It's not bad. I love the way people are so undecided. They're like, do I like 2,500 rand? I don't like it. Is it worth it? I'm confused. I wish I had it in my back pocket now, but I don't know if I'm willing to work for it. But let me give you some context, because we'll always speak about in this business becoming debt-free as quickly as possible. So I want to, remember earlier in the presentation, I said to you, I want to show you how debt cripples you in the long term without us realizing it, right? So here's an example of someone with a R1 million bond. The bank borrowed lent R1 million to this individual, right? Through a bond. They agreed to pay the bond term over a period of 20 years, right? The majority of bonds, I assume, in the country. No one takes less than a 20-year bond because we want the biggest house our salary can afford, right? Me included. So, after some success, 6 months later, at DuePoint, you're now earning 2,500 rand. You can choose to buy a new pair of shoes every month, or a handbag, or start to dine at nicer restaurants, or whatever you want to do. Start shopping at Woolworths and only buy imported avocados at Woolworths. I'm going to get into trouble in this presentation. Or you can choose to take the 2,500 rand and start paying your debt off faster. What is the effect of paying your debt off faster? Why can't I just pay the bond off over 20 years? Why not? Right? Let me show you what the effect is. So this little 2,500 rand, which is not that much money, right, in today's terms, you put that into a R1 million bond, you will nearly halve the term of the bond. So I'm 40. If I find a R1 million house now and I take a bond out, I will become a homeowner after 20 years of paying 11,500 rand a month for the next 20 years. And that'll fluctuate with the interest rate, right? But if I put just 2,500 rand extra into the bond, I now become a homeowner at 51 instead of 60. I give myself nearly 10 years extra where I could take that 14,000 rand and put it into an investment. That's what 2,500 rand does, the little 2,500 rand. It will save you, so in repayments that you don't have to make anymore, right? 9 years of repayments that you don't have to make will save you equivalent of R1 million in repayments. R1 million in repayments. That is crazy. That's why we want to pay our debt off as quickly as possible. After 12 months, you're on in excess of 100,000 rand annually in recurring income that you've created for yourself. Now it's better money, right? 12 months worth of work, 1 year's worth of work to give yourself an extra 100,000 rand, where in employment we're begging for 8%, 7% a year. Here you have the opportunity of creating 100,000 rand annual income. After 24 months, you're on close to 30,000 rand a month. 360,000 rand a year. What do you do with that? This is where your imagination starts to run wild. Start thinking about what you can tick off your list of expenses every month when you're creating this recurring income. At the 36-month mark, you're on about 50,000 rand. Here you're at about 36,000 rand. Here's an example of a 5 million rand bond. You can pay a 5 million rand house off if you put your 36,000 rand as an additional payment into your bond here. You can pay a 5 million rand house off in less than 7 years. So in 21 years, I can do that 3 times. By the time the age of 61, when I get pushed into retirement, I could have paid off 3 5 million rand houses. I could be sitting with 15 million rand in property assets, live in one house, rent the other 2 out. Do you think I care that I've lost my job at the age of 61? You can only do it if you created an asset for yourself. This is the the option that we want in life. 48 months, 70,000 rand a month. After 60 months, a short 5 years. 5 years away. 5 years ago, I think I was probably earning the same as I am today. 5 years in front, going forward, R1 million in recurring income annually. But this is all academic. This is based on this example of 3 plus 2. You can do less than 3 plus 2, like our 0 plus 0 club, or you can do more than 3 plus 2. And we love to showcase our wealth engineers that do more than 3 plus 2, to show everyone that it's possible, right? And there are many people doing more than 3 plus 2. So we've got Jack, he joined at the end of January. In a month, he was up to nearly 1,000 rand a month. So in his first month, his first 30 days, he created 1,000 rand. That's 12,000 rand annually that he created for himself. In 30 days. February, March, April, May. 4 months after that, he was over 3,000 rand mark, right? 3 plus 2 says get to 2,500 rand after 6 months. And then by July, that's in 5 months, he was in excess of 7,000 rand a month. Doing more than 3 plus 2. And he's not slowing down, by the way. Didn't get to 7,000. I don't know what Jack wants. He wants more than 7,000 a month because he has not stopped working. Engelbert, he joined when we launched this division here at DuePoint. He joined on the 9th of February. I think it was a day after, 2 days after we launched the business. He had a bit of trouble over 2016. His income went up and then it dropped again. But he persisted. 1 year is not a long time, right? When we have frustration over a couple of months, we tell ourselves that it doesn't work. We cannot make it work. Your option is only to quit, stop wasting your time. Why do we do that to ourselves? He got back involved and he doubled his income from what it was at maximum last year to 12,000 rand a month. And Kanyezi, our poster girl, for this year at least, joined at the end of March. 17,000 a month. How do you do that? She runs her own business at the same time. And she's got kids. Go listen to these people's testimonies. All the testimonies that we've had for the last year, we must have 30, 40 people that have shared their stories, their experiences on YouTube. Go watch the videos. Every experience is different. For every person, you need to note here that these people are not special. We don't have people up here that are only people with degrees or only people with corporate experience. We've got people with matric, without matric, corporate experience, non-corporate experience, people that are housewives, all kinds of backgrounds. The difference is that they are putting time into a business that they believe in, that they feel convicted by. That makes all the difference, right? We've got hundreds of wealth engineers that we pay every month that have created an income for themselves over and above their salaries. They are closer than they were before to paying their debt off faster, to creating an asset, to building up an asset towards retirement. So that's the returns program. That's one way to benefit as a wealth engineer. The other way to benefit as a wealth engineer is to engage in this XP rewards program. So the rewards program rewards you with the success that you have at DuePoint, right? So if you become a wealth engineer, all these little things floating by are different activities that you can engage in. And it's normal activity for any wealth engineer to engage in. So it's like coming into intro presentations, bringing guests with you, watching training, logging into the website, all these arbitrary things. They're not arbitrary, but this is what wealth engineers do. And when you engage in all these activities and your business starts to grow, we reward you along the way. So if you become a wealth engineer tonight, you'll start out as a rank 0 wealth engineer. But you can get to rank 1 very quickly, right? If you really want to, I reckon you can get to rank 1 in 24 hours. Because you only need 1,000 XP, okay? And you only need 4 products in your qualified channel. And when you do those 2 things, we give you an extra 55 Rand as a reward. And you can decide how you want to spend that 55 Rand. Have a cappuccino, celebrate on your own. Do what you need to do, right? It starts out small. But as you start to build your business and you're collecting more XP, you start to rank up. And when you rank up, the reward gets bigger and better as you rank up. So it gets to 100 Rand, 400 Rand, 1,500 Rand, 20,000 Rand, 50,000 Rand, and it keeps going. We give tools to our wealth engineers to help them build their channels more effectively. So at rank 5, we give the wealth engineer this fancy little USB stick that you can plug into anything. That's the beauty of it, is that it plugs into any device. It'll plug into cell phones, tablets, laptops, computers, TVs. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what device you have around, you can plug this little device in, right? So that Patrick and Pumi can show people the business opportunity regardless of where they are or who they're with. At rank 7, we get these premium business cards printed, 12,500 Rand for a set of 1,000 cards. You can go look at the cards outside. They're in the merchandise cabinet. DuePoint does not really have brand equity yet. Right? When the entire country has heard of us, DuePoint will have brand equity. But now when you go speak to someone about DuePoint, odds are they haven't heard of DuePoint, right? So they don't have any connection. They don't know what this business is all about. So they might brush you off. But when you offer them a business card that costs 12,500 Rand to manufacture, that business card's about 50 times more expensive than the one they've got. They'll suddenly say to you, what's DuePoint all about? How do you get a business card like that, right? Because it's gilded in gold on the edges and the logo's embossed in gold on the front. This is very much a first impression business. I always say to the wealth engineers, you have to behave professionally in this business. Don't treat it as a hobby. You've got to speak professionally, behave professionally, have business cards if you want professional results. At rank 9, this is one everyone gets excited about, because when you get to rank 9, DuePoint will take you and your family business class flights to a 5-star luxury resort for 7 days, all expenses paid trip every single year going forward. Every single year going forward. That's on offer to every single person in the room. Everyone in the room. This is not hype. This is on offer. You need to decide whether you want it or not. To make you kind of connect with the offer, I'm going to show you a video of where we're going at the end of this year. And this will happen every year. And there's no time limit to getting to rank 9. You can take as long as you want to get there. We've had one individual take 5 months to go from nothing to rank 9 in 5 months. So have a look.
All of your wind has gone, and all of the paths you've drawn have sunk to the ocean sun where no one can see. You stand, don't let the dark embrace, cower the dreams you chase under the rust and blood. Don't let yourself give up.
So that's rank 9. If you can get to rank 1, you can get to rank 9. There's no difference. The activity is exactly the same at rank 1 as it is at rank 9. So you have to get excited about 55 Rand. As excited as you get about rank 9, right? Because it starts at rank 1. At rank 11, we spend R250,000 on a brand new car for our wealth engineer, and we give it to them. No strings attached. It's yours. Wealth engineers drove that car off our parking lot 2 months ago. This is just rank 11. The program goes to rank 20. We've designed up to rank 28 behind the scenes. What happens at rank 28 if we're giving you cars at rank 11? Someone said it's a jet. It's a jet. Right? What is it? There's only one way to find out. So this is all through the XP Rewards program. Remember that the returns program is more important than the rewards program. You want to be able to build this asset. The asset is what pays you out the return. This is the fun and the incentive, and for us it's a training program in the background to kind of incentivize behavior in the channel. But always focus on the returns. The returns is where you're going to be building your wealth. And we'll help you get to debt-free status as quickly as possible. Because if you're having a business class overseas trip every single year and the car you're driving you haven't spent a cent on, you don't have a debit order running off of it, you're going to be close to happiness. Close to happiness. And that's what we want. Okay. So another benefit that we have is something that we do every month called the Wealth Quest. It is a challenge that we issue to our wealth engineers every month. We've got a different challenge every month, different reward. This is called the Build the Right Team for the Dream. If you can add 2 new wealth engineers into your business, right, this month, during the month of August, get them qualified and ensure that no one cancels their products on your first 3 points during the month of August, you'll have a brand new iPad in your hands by the end of next month. Okay. This is just to keep you motivated, to keep things a little different, right? Because if rank 1 is the same as rank 9, you're going to be doing the same thing month in, month out. At least let this serve as a little bit of incentive for you, a fresh incentive every month that's got a great reward at the end of the month if you succeed at it. But even if you don't succeed, if you half succeed, you will have grown your return, your asset base, right? So there's no downside to engaging in this Wealth Quest. So that's the Wealth Quest, every month a new one. We get asked the question, well, how does DuePoint afford all of these things? Returns, rewards, holidays, forever, cars. Insurance companies spend a fortune on marketing and advertising to acquire clients. DuePoint doesn't spend a cent on marketing or advertising because we don't do any. Right? We rely on our wealth engineers, our partners, to go out and tell people about the DuePoint business opportunity. And so that money, that portion of the premium that insurance companies spend in the billions on client acquisition, we take that portion of the premium and we spend it on returns and rewards for you, our wealth engineers. And that's how the business model works here at DuePoint. Okay, we have 3 products. So you are free to take out 1 product or all 3 products. They have got great benefits. The benefits are all different. We've got wealth engineers that have all 3 products, right? So the first product is called Access Wealth. It is an investment product. These products, the benefits talk into our lives from a financial perspective. So the investment one's obvious. You want to be creating an investment. Access Wealth, 299 Rand a month, of which 100 Rand will be invested into a tax-free investment fund in your name. It's not a notice or a fixed deposit. You can draw the funds out at any stage. We give you some insurance with this product, 110,000 Rands worth of personal accident cover. So if you're killed in a car accident, you have this investment product, we'll pay out your beneficiaries 110,000 Rand. We paid 100% of our claims last year. Okay. The second product is called Wealth Guard. It is an insurance product only, but this time for 274 Rand a month, you get 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident cover. Don't confuse this with life insurance. This is not life insurance. This is personal accident cover. The beauty of personal accident cover is that we don't profile you from a health risk point of view. So anyone over the age of 18 can take this product out. You can be 80 years old. You can be diabetic. You can even have cancer. You can still take out this product. The premium doesn't increase, and the cover, the amount of cover remains the same. Okay, so this is our insurance product, Wealth Guard. Product number 3 is called the Wealth Points Buyers Club program. This product aims to save us money on the money we spend every month anyway, right? So for 274 Rand a month, you get to enjoy the discounts that we've negotiated with a list of companies that you see there. And we are adding to this list all the time. ShopRite Checkers is a very popular one because we spend a fortune on groceries every month. So through this program, if you're a member of the Wealth Points program, you can go shop at ShopRite Checkers and get 2.5% off your entire trolley all the time. Right? We've got a host of other different retailers there. We've got the Entertainer, which is a great program that you can get on, which gives you over R1 million worth of buy one, get one free vouchers. We've just added a new partner on, a data partner called Always On. They've got 2,500 hotspots around the country where we've negotiated their data rates at 1/3 of the price. You can get a gig for less than 37 Rand through this program, right? We spend money on data anyway. We spend money on groceries anyway. We spend money at restaurants anyway. Through this program, you get to get benefit out of the discounts that's afforded to our Wealth Points program members. You want immediate benefit, this is a great product to have. So those are the 3 products. Come speak to me if you want to understand anything else about the products. We've kept them very straightforward, right? So that we can build the business. We have spent a lot of time, effort, and money on building a support structure for our wealth engineers. Engage in that support structure. We've got a live stream that goes out to the entire country. Every presentation that we do gets broadcast to the entire country. Use it to go build your channel outside of Johannesburg. This is the only office in the entire country, but we have got DuePoint wealth engineers in every town in the country. So go use that, because we can be in someone's lounge right now, this evening. Make sure it's someone that you've introduced to DuePoint, right? Build your channel outside of the head office. Here's the slide. Do you remember it? I warned everyone. The big orange one. Decision time. What is the decision we're making this evening? If you do not see the benefit in this business, I promise you, there is nothing else I can tell you. There is nothing else I can tell you. If employment was the answer to your problems, you wouldn't be here. So I know that there is need for it. I see it in the statistics, in the economics, that the majority of South Africans, when I say majority, I don't mean 51%, I mean 98% of South Africans need to start doing something beyond employment. Employment is not the answer. Employment pays your bills, and that's where it ends. And if you don't have an employment, you're not going to be able to pay your bills, right? The only way around that is to create an asset that pays you out, ideally a recurring income. And this is what's on offer here. We don't sign you into contracts. We're not going to force you to pay your product for the next year. If you don't want to do this business in 3 months, leave. We honestly don't keep anyone here that doesn't want to be effective in this business. So this is a very risk-free opportunity. Why not try it? See what happens. But give yourself at least time to be successful at it, to prove to yourself. Not everyone's going to be like Nkanyezi and go speak to 25 people a day and get to 17,000 Rand a month after 3 or 4 months or whatever it was, right? We all got different ambitions. We've got different issues going on in our lives. You could be happy getting to 1,000 Rand a month. What does 1,000 Rand extra every month mean to you? Maybe it means that now transport's not a cost for you anymore. That's a great thing to have, right? You might be happy on a 2,500 Rand a month. You might be only happy when you get to 100,000 Rand a month. But you have to make that decision. Because once you've made that decision, once you've decided what you want out of this business, that's when you need to decide, well, how much time does that business require for me to get to that point? If you want to be like Nkanyezi and get to 17,000 Rand a month, you need to be thinking about DuePoint every minute. But if you don't, well, then you know, I only have to spend an hour a week, 2 hours a week in DuePoint to get to 1,000 Rand a month. And that suits me fine. Right? The accountability is with you. No one's forcing you to the business. I'm not going to phone you when you join and don't do anything. You don't get a phone call. This is Rob from DuePoint. I see you haven't earned any XP this month. Please will you come in for a meeting? We don't do those phone calls. If you don't do the business, you hurt yourself, no one else. Right? So this business does. It requires accountability, leadership, maturity. But for me, I really want to see people changing their lives. And we do that already. That's where I get the most, all the fuzzy, warm feeling for me is when someone comes up to me and says, God sent me this business, right? I mean, that's not being blasphemous, but when people say that, when people feel that, that is an awesome feeling for us here at DuePoint, to see that we're changing people's lives in an economy where the economy is not doing anything for anyone. So if you have any questions around the opportunity about the business, come speak to me. I'll answer any of them. We're not running away. We've got lots of support in place to help you. Joining is very easy. You jump onto our homepage. We've got iPads. We've got free Wi-Fi for everybody. Jump onto the homepage, go through the application form. It takes you about 7 minutes, and you'll be a wealth engineer, and you can start building this asset, right, immediately. We've got merchandise. Like I said, you need to act professionally in this business. Please consider getting business cards for yourself before you get to rank 7. At rank 7, I'll buy you business cards. But up until then, get business cards for yourself so that you can look very professional when you speak to people about this business opportunity. We've got a USB stick, all our video collaterals on that. You can plug them into TVs nowadays. Get that if you don't want to use data, right? We've got a host of other merchandises all on display on the cabinet. Tomorrow is Women's Day. Our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, our grandmothers, right? But it is opportunity for us to go out and build our asset value, to build our business for ourselves, because no one else is doing it for us. And so tomorrow we recognize the fact that is a great opportunity. DuePoint grows the biggest on public holidays, because while everyone else is sitting back trying to relax because they're working 40 hours a week, we're going, well, I need to work on my public holiday because my salary is not going to do what I need. So we've got a morning presentation at 10 o'clock and a lunchtime presentation at 12:15. Be here, tune into the live stream if you want to stay at home. Get people to come listen to what this opportunity is all about so that you can grow your channel. We've got a YouTube channel. All our videos are on here. A year's worth, there must be hundreds of videos on here. We've got testimonies, interviews with all the clever people. We've got all our presentations in different formats. Everything is on this YouTube channel. Go explore in that YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. It'll tell you every time a live stream's about to happen. It'll tell you when we load up new videos. And when you become a wealth engineer, download the mobile app onto your smartphone or tablet, because that mobile app will tell you exactly what's happening in your business in real time, right? Someone joins. You see your asset value go up. It's like money falling into your phone. So download the app. We're done. I think I was about 60 minutes. I hope I wasn't too late. Guys, come speak to me afterwards. I thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful holiday tomorrow, regardless of what you do, and a good week. Good luck. Thanks.